Hi guys, it's Brittany. So, on Friday, June 10th, I finally saw Jurassic World Dominion and it's amazing. And this is going to be a spoiler free review, and only because for those who haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything, and those who want to see it, I will not spoil anything for you, I promise. And um, yeah, I actually really love it. It's amazing because now I didn't know what to expect, like what the story was going to be about and what would happen, you know, unraveling of within the story and everything else. So I had no idea. But let's say, because the reason why I actually really love the movie and just think it's amazing, because I did not expect anything. I didn't expect more or less of certain things within the movie, and it just turned out really great. Now the whole Locust, now that I thought was a something different, but I thought was quite interesting. But I'm not complaining about it, and there's these interesting dinosaur action scenes which I actually really liked, because I don't think you see that much of it in any of the other movies. I mean, there's probably, some action, scenes of dinosaurs even throughout the franchise, but this one I think was just a bit more, and I really like that. And now there are some things I feel like I want to say about it, specifically on certain parts, but I just feel like no, don't, because I don't want to say anything that might spoil it for someone. Um, but yeah, this is really great, and like I said, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't really expect anything, but I would say there was one thing I was really curious about, and that was, the shaving cream, the one that we see in the first one. Now that's something that us Jurassic Park fans, we wanted to know, like, well, what happened to it? Is it gonna show up? But I'm not gonna say anything about that. But as we know, in the Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, there's no sign of that can. But I'm not gonna say whether you're gonna see it or not. That's just something you have to see for yourself. But that's something I've always wondered about, and through each Jurassic Park movie, it's like there's just no sign of it. And of course, I've always wondered, like, how, like, where is it, and is it ever gonna show up again? So I'm not gonna say anything about that, although I kind of mention the can itself, but I'm not gonna tell you whether you see it or not. But oh man, so now I think this had a really good story and good action scenes, and especially dinosaur action scenes as well. And there are some parts, I think there are most some parts where it's just really intense, where it gets your heart racing, because I know I pretty much felt that way. And I think the music is great too. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, the music itself is really great as well, and I love it. And oh gosh, I can't say anything without spoiling it. This is why I think it's kind of hard to do a review without trying to spoil anything. But I just really I'm losing my voice. But yeah, I just really love it, and it is long. I think it's about 2 hours and 36 minutes, which is longer than most of them, because Jurassic Park is 2 hours and 7 minutes, and The Lost World is 2 hours and 9 minutes, which is just 2 minutes longer than first. And the part three is like an hour, I think an hour and 11 minutes. And I think Jurassic World is, trying to think, 2 hours and 4 minutes. And Fallen Kingdom is somewhere around there, of 2 hours and 9 minutes or 4 minutes, or somewhere around there. But this one is much longer, and I actually like that, honestly, because I feel like there was a lot more to see and a lot more to explore of the movie, of the story and the characters and the dinosaurs and everything else. And of course, now we do see Rexy in here. She is in this one. Now we don't see much of her, but we do see her maybe just a bit more towards the end of one scene. Now there is a dinosaur fight. That I will say, there is a dinosaur fight between Rexy and the other tall, mean dinosaur. I don't know what you call it. I think in my other video I mentioned I called it a Gigantosaurus. No, I don't think that's the real name of it. I just call it that because it is a bit taller than the T-Rex. But yeah, there is a fight between those two, and it is intense. Now, I don't know if I should really say this or not, but if not, I'm just gonna try to be careful. But with this fight, it had me worried, because I thought, okay, Rexy fought off the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. But I thought, well, yeah, she did fought it along with Blue, and it was the Mosasaurus that took it down with it. But with this one in particular, is like, I think this one had me a bit more afraid than the Indominus Rex. And this one really had me worried, because I didn't know whether if this was gonna be the fight that Rexy might either survive or not. I'm not gonna say, like, for those who probably want to know if she survives or not, I could tell you if you want me to, but then again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should. But now, there is a part, even within that part, now, I don't know if I should really say it. I mean, I don't know if anyone would, I mean, I don't know if that would be like such a huge spoiler, but there is a part, okay, now I'm not gonna say which part. I mean, you could probably guess, but I'm not gonna say specifically. But there is a part somewhere in the movie that something happens, and yeah, and I was getting really anxious at that point, and I was just feeling like I was actually getting a bit emotional, and then I just remember feeling like, oh no, and I just remember thinking, is this how it's gonna be? Like, is this how it's going to end? And I thought, no, like, no, this can't happen. But then something happened, and when something did happen, all of a sudden, now I still felt emotional, but in a different way, not so much sad, but more like feeling relieved. And something happens within that I was just like surprised but relieved, and I was just feeling happy, but happy in an emotional way. So I was just like, you know, just feeling relieved. Cause yeah, just when I thought, oh no, this is how it's gonna be, this is how it's gonna end, but then something else happens. I'm like, oh, okay. And and then yeah, then I was but yeah, I was still a little bit anxious, but then something else happened that I was surprised how it happened, but at the same time I just felt mostly um relieved and happy. Now I'm not sure if I should say what part that is, but you can guess if you want. But now I remember, because I think there were some people, some Jurassic Park fans, who thought maybe some of the characters might die, or maybe a Frexie might die. And when I was thinking of that, I thought, no, that can't be. And I just remember thinking, no, I don't want anyone to die in the movie, and I especially don't want Rexy to die, because that will break my heart. But now, now a character does die. I also say that now it's not the good guys. Let me just say that it's the bad guy, and his now I'm not gonna say how he died. This is why so hard. Like, I can't say anything without spoiling it. But yes, and in this one you do see the Dilophosaurus, but there are three. Now I can't remember in the first one if there was just only one or two, because there was a video I watched recently talking about the first one, and someone mentioned that when Dennis Nedry encountered a dinosaur, the Dilophosaurus, that there was one, and that one was specifically right here facing him and spit out the venom on him, and I think spit on him again on his face. But and you know how at some point when the venom was on his face, he was screaming, he was trying to get it off of him, but then he got knocked over, like he got knocked out for a while, and the can was rolling. But then at some point he got up and got into the Jeep. But my question is, did that Dilophosaurus that just attacked him with his venom, that somehow it sneak into the Jeep, or was there a second one? Because in the video it mentioned that there was two, and that there was another Dilophosaurus that was in the Jeep. Now if there was two, I'm just surprised they didn't show there was specifically two in Jurassic Park, but it just made it look like there was one. So I'm actually curious about that. So anyway, so that part I don't really know for sure, but if you guys know if there was only one or two, let me know. Because in this one, there's three. But I would say I still like the designs of it. I mean, it does look different from the first one, but I still like it. And there is a part, there is a certain similar part from the first of that, and that part specifically was intense, and it was intense like in a almost like a horror movie kind of way, except with dinosaurs. So it almost kind of gives you the same feeling as the first, because there are like some horror elements um, in this one, just like with Jurassic Park, because in the first one, it's like you're on the island and yet you get these really intense and scary moments of Jurassic Park, and that's how it kind of feels within some parts. And this one does, it has some references of all the movies, like of the first all the way up until Fallen Kingdom, so that was just great. And now there's something else. Now there's something else that happened in the movie. Something good. I'm not gonna say what, but the way it ended, I actually liked the way it ended. And now there is something that I saw, and like one part of it, of the ending, and that part specifically, I was like, what? Like, I was just surprised, and I thought, no way. I looked at that. I just remember just kind of like feeling happy because I did not expect that. But yeah, it's kind of, I would say honestly, it's kind of hard to say certain parts of the movie without spoiling anything. Yes, I really enjoyed it, and even when it was over, I did not want to leave. That's the thing, I did not want to leave the theater because I thought, no, I want to see it again. Now, I do know Dominion does have some mixed reviews, not only with critics, but also with some Jurassic Park fans who probably don't like it, and either don't like it or just completely hate it. But honestly, it's like, I mean, if it's not really the kind of Jurassic Park movie you were hoping it would be, or not something you expected, because somehow you probably expected something more, maybe something better. But I think that's the problem here, is that when you expect something more or less when it comes to a movie that you're watching, then yeah, you're gonna end up feeling very disappointed. But now the key to really enjoying a movie, whether if you really like it or you love it, the key to it is not to expect anything, like not to assume what may or may not happen, or what you hope would happen, because it's like kind of like getting your hopes up. Or like if you somehow expect more or less of something that maybe you don't want to see or do want to see, then again it's gonna all come crashing down for you, or you're gonna end up feeling very disappointed, um, and that's how that happens. And yeah, I'm just being honest, because whenever I do watch a movie, I just keep an open mind to that anything can happen, and that I don't expect more or less of the movie. But I just think, what, no matter what happens, I hope that that it's like no matter what happens, that I'm not gonna let anything ruin my experience to for the movie, and to just enjoy it. And even if there's some things that turn out to be different that maybe I kind of thought, but it's like, you know what, that I think that's okay. And that's the thing, like, the thing is, when it comes to really enjoying a movie, you gotta keep an open mind that anything can happen. So, yeah, that's all I'm just gonna say. Um, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie, and I love it. I really do. I want to see it again. And I think the way they did this was just great. And, I love everything about it. I think because of that, I would say this is like my favorite Jurassic Park sequel within the franchise. So, now, if there are some things you do want me to mention, especially about Rexy, whether she lives or not, let me know. I mean, I could, but either I can mention it in another video or I can mention it on Twitter, because on Twitter I do tweet pretty much about anything. So yeah, follow me at Miss Brett Wright at Twitter, on Twitter, and if you want to see me tweet that, I could. But if not, and if that's something you want to see for yourself, then that's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like a pretty much a huge spoiler, but that's somewhat a spoiler, because there are other things that I think are a bit. I think there are other things in the movie that are a bit more of a big spoiler. Especially if it has something to do with the plot of the movie. But yeah, so I really loved it, and I really wish I could just go back to the theater again and just watch it. I really do. Like, to me, it was just this fun experience, but it was so intense. And yeah, to me, there was one part that I did got emotional with, and just when I thought it was gonna turn out to be that way, but then something else happens, and it just caught me by surprise, and I just turned out to be feeling this really happy. So yeah. So anyway, I know everyone has their own opinions on Jurassic World Dominion, whether you hate it or love it, but I love it. And this just might be the end, like the closing chapter to in the Jurassic Park franchise. So I mean, do I wish there could be more? Maybe at least one more, but not like a whole lot more. But I mean, if this is the last movie to the franchise, then I'm okay with that. I am. So, I hope you enjoyed this spoiler-free review, even though it was hard not to mention anything, because I really wanted to, and I feel like I can't without spoiling, the movie, especially within some parts that happen that maybe you guys probably want to see for yourself. So that was kind of hard to do. So anyway, yeah, so I would say that was like the best movie, like a really great movie that I've seen this year, along with, of course, other movies that I've seen this year. So yeah, so that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.